And good morning and welcome to another edition of Expert Alert. I'm your host, Jim Tabor. This is where we bring in experts from different fields around the Gulf Coast as far as their business expertise and sharing some helpful tips with you. And one of them that is very important, especially this time of the year, is your finances. And of course, we have Carrie and Jennifer Milligan from Strojny Financial that are here with us again. Glad to have you all on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Halfway point. You know, people are starting to think, what do I need to do so that way when it comes tax season or tax time next year, I don't want to have to pay any more than I necessarily have to. Mm-hmm. And y'all get a lot of questions regarding that.
We do. We get a lot of questions about it's the middle of the year. I've got 6 months left. I'm not sure where that first 6 months went, but what do I need to get in order for this next 6 months? Mm-hmm. And so we thought we'd just talk through a little bit of that today.
All right, so get your pen and your paper out and take these notes down because I've already looked over all this and it's really amazing some of the stuff you would not even think of, but they are important.
So we looked at overall financial well-being, not just tax, which there are some tax things that we want to do mid-year, but one of the first things we think that's the basis foundation of overall financial health is knowing your budget. Right? Because that's where it all starts, money in, money out. We have to look at that. We need to look at the categories. And I would say most likely through the changes we've had from 2020 to 2021, I assume most people's budgets have changed in certain forms, And so I think it's important that they look, and see where they are, how much money they're spending per month and look at their expenditures. Another thing that happens, which we're getting ready to start, and I think one school system already started, but you got the
Gulfport,
right? Because they're doing year-round. Back to school supplies for the kids and expenses. If you're in private school, the tuition, right? So you got to kind of look at the budgeting for that. Also, not too far, like she said, we blinked. It's already been 6 months. Well, we're going to have Thanksgiving into Christmas, the holiday season,
right?
Where we're going to be spending. So we need to look at that. So. It's year-round, but really, you really don't want to come out after on the back end of holiday season with a bunch of credit card debt.
And it's probably going to be quite a bit different than it was last year because last year we had all the COVID stuff. We weren't venturing out as much and everything, but now with more and more people getting back out and have been and spending more money and say, I remember I had money to do this, so they got to really sit back and take a look. Don't put yourself in a hole.
Yeah. You might have overdone it on the summer vacation.
Well, because people have been cooped up, they want to do these things. I know last year we couldn't go anywhere, and we still have trouble going places now. Some things are not open, especially going out of the country or whatever. So you probably saved up a lot of money, but now maybe you're eating out a lot. The restaurants were shut down.
Oh, I definitely
am. And you might have done some takeout or whatever, but you were at home. Well, now, and it's good for, our community. And those small businesses, we want to help that, but we also, it's for fun. We want to go out and we don't have to cook. But you really want to look at that and make a plan going forward.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then I'd say another thing, that this is a good time of year to go pull that free credit report. A lot of people don't know the government actually provides you with one free credit report a year.
Okay.
Okay. Now, when you go type in free credit report, you're going to get a long list of stuff in Google that actually tries to charge you for the credit report. You are in the wrong place. You want to go to the way I know how to get to it, make sure you're in the free credit reporting system, is go to ftc.gov, that's Federal Trade Commission, ftc.gov, and then in the search, or what I type into Google is ftc.gov plus free credit report, and it takes you to an article with a link that gets you to the place that gives you the actual free credit report. Because when you just type it in, there's a bunch of services that are trying to make $15-20 off of you trying to get to that free report.
Right.
So you want to avoid that and get to the real free one. But the reason you want to do that is because, one, there's still a lot of identity theft and things like that go on. You want to look and make sure that you recognize everything on that report and that you understand what it is. It may also remind you of some outstanding things, like maybe there's an old Home Depot or Lowe's card that you used for a special project that you don't need anymore, that you might want to, close out and not have hanging out there in the ether somewhere.
Right.
So these are all things to look for. And if you do see something funny or that doesn't look right, then you want to contact that bank or institution and see what's going on. Sometimes there's something we just forgot about, or the bank changed names or got bought out and we don't recognize it. Sometimes it means there's a deeper problem that we want to leap in and solve. So it's a good time to do that.
And I would add to that, especially if you're looking at not in the too distant future that you're looking at maybe borrowing money, right? You want that credit score to be higher,
sure.
and obviously if we can make our payments timely and whatnot, that looks better. You know, it's sort of counterintuitive. Sometimes when you close a card or pay off a debt, it'll bring your credit score down temporarily. It's still a good thing, but also keep that in mind, as well as opening new debt. You know, that's more revolving debt, so you just want to manage that if you're getting ready to do some borrowing, maybe for a new house or something.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, well, just, you know, I don't know how much time we have left, but we were talking about, you know, tax, things to do with tax, and I know we've got a myriad of things. We probably won't get to them all today, but one we talked a lot about already was the advanced child tax credit, right? We talked about that on multiple shows now. So parents out there really need to look at this and see, you know, because what's going to happen, some of the child tax, we're going to get additional money, right? More than our normal $2,000 for kids under 16 and younger, actually 17 and younger, you know, it's a change. Okay, and so, you know, what we need to look at is they're going to pay us. That already started. We have clients calling, they're getting deposits and checks, and that already started. Well, that's nice. We're getting the money, but some of that, even though it's more, because they raised that, you know, we're getting more, we'll actually have less of a credit on our tax return. Let me just give you the math real quick. Right now, $2,000, right, is what I get for, let's say, a kid 10 years of age. They're going to give me $250, you know, for 6 months, because that was raised to $3,000, right? So they're giving me $1,500, right?
Right.
So that's great, but now apples to apples, if the previous year I got a $2,000 credit on my tax return, which means I was $2,000 better to my bottom line because of child tax credit, I'm only going to be $1,500. I've lost $500. So why that's important, we've had so many calls about this because it is confusing. You can go on to irs.gov and click on there and opt out of the payments coming in. But I think you really want to have a conversation with your tax professional, or if you do your own, you need to look at that and see, because I think there's going to be a lot of surprises from this come, you know, February, March, April.
Right.
Well, and I have parents calling and saying, hey, I claimed this child last year, but, you know, this next year my ex is claiming this child, so I don't want the money. I'm going to have to pay it back.
Right.
You know, in those sorts of situations. So there are a lot of times where you do want to go in and opt out. And you can do that even if you got July. You're probably too late to opt out for August, but you can go in and opt out in theory for September, October, November, December.
Okay.
So that's a good one.
Anything? No, we've got a long, as you said, we got a long list here. We'll probably only get through half of them. We'll have to continue it next week.
Sure.
But another one, as you said, which is something I had to do when I changed my status to single.
Yes.
Is make sure that you take a look at your withholdings.
Absolutely. And this is a great time of year to do that. So many people are in flux with their jobs right now. They're leaving an old job, they're starting a new job, they got a raise because they're covering more work because there's not enough employees. There are lots of changes going on with employers and employees right now. And that affects the Form W-4 and the Mississippi withholding that you fill out on how much they're going to hold out of your pay. Now, the W-4 changed a couple of years ago, and they rolled out a new one, and it is much more confusing. People knew the old one, single, married, and then I want to claim 0 to 4, right? Whatever.
Right.
That was the old, easy system. They get this new one, and they're like, I have no idea how to fill this out. And different payroll systems are sort of reading those forms kind of some quirky ways. A lot of people come in and they've paid in hardly any withholding, and now we have a big tax liability. So that's something that you want to look at, is that withholding is on track for what you need to get through the year and get the refund or be even with what you're trying to do.
And it's too late, obviously, when I'm getting when I open up in the mail on, you know, say January 31st or whatever, I open up, look at my W-2, and I'm like, oh no, there's not a lot of withholding. That's why we want to look at our pay stubs. Even if it's direct deposited, you should have a copy of that.
Well, I remember years ago, you would the first part of the year you would claim so much, and then you would change it halfway through the year. So it kind of balanced things out. That's what we would do.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah.
you know, we only got through 4 of these, and we've got 6 more to do. But we're out of time. So
But we'll be back.
we'll be back next month, and so we'll talk some more about this. But some very informative things. Of course, You can go back and watch this again on our streaming on WLOX.com, on our Facebook page, and get some great tips to prepare yourself for 2022.
Yes.
Get ready. Thank you all again for being here with us again.
Thank you, Jim.
All right.
All right. We appreciate you being here again with us on another edition of Expert Alert, and we will see you again soon.
If you have a question for any of our experts, go to WLOX.com and click on Expert Alert. For a list of any of our upcoming experts, go to WLOX.com and click on Expert Alert.